Yo, sup? This is MY3. As you can see, Raging Tempest is upon us. Yangjiang, historically as well as looking towards the future, has always been a deck that can hybrid really well with a variety of archetypes and engines. Another archetype coming out in Raging Tempest also has that ability to not only hybrid very well with many decks, it can pretty much hybrid very well with all decks. And I'm talking about none other than the Zoodiac beasts. So yes, this video is going to be covering the interactions between Yangjiang and Zoodiacs. Chinese theme intensifies. There are three main synergistic parts between the Zoodiac engine and Yangjiang engine. The first one that should be immediately obvious to everyone is the interaction between Zoodiac Barrage and Yangjiang. Zoodiac Barrage says you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one Zoodiac monster from your deck. So this is a card that can destroy Yangjiang, does not make Yangjiang miss timing, and on top of that, you can also get free stuff, since it summons a Zoodiac monster from your deck. This might seem like it does quite a similar thing to Metaphors, but it's actually completely different method, a more robust direction we can take the deck in. Now, engines such as Metaphors or the Sky Iris engine, they don't generate us field advantage, and that's both a good and a bad thing. Because it doesn't put any additional monsters on board, we can float into Jiao and resolve Jiao. Zoodiac Barrage, however, summons a Zoodiac onto the field, which obviously blocks off Jiao's restriction, which is you can only use Jiao's effect when you have no other monsters under your control. Of course, you can overlay Trident over it. Trident can pop itself, clearing that spot so you can resolve Jiao. But the future direction we want to take this deck in is to never have to rely on Jiao's resolution ever again. Now, as of right now, the Raging Tempest format, having a deck based on Jiao is fine. So the Metaphor Yangjiang variant is still completely fine. After Maximum Crisis, which is the set after Raging Tempest, Jiao orientated decks are not going to be a very good call because God Ash comes out in that set, which is a staple 3 of hand trap in every deck, and shuts down Jiao even harder than Effect Veiler. And this is going into a hand trap format. The Zoodiac engine is a very resilient archetype to every type of hand trap. Maxi, Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, God Ash, DD Crow, you name it. You can pretty much play around all of these hand traps with the Zoodiac engine. So these are the advantages of the Zoodiac engine. Also, you can play around Dimensional Barrier much more effectively because you can opt to do pure Exceed plays or pure Synchro plays, both of which are very strong by themselves. Of course, the strongest plays comes in when we mix the two together, so both Synchro and Exceed plays. But beggars can't be choosers under Dimensional Barrier. The drawback is obviously wasting 5+ extra deck spots to the Zoodiac Exceeds. The end fields are not as spectacular as well, although they should be good enough to end the game. Yeah, I'll just go through the combos, and you guys can decide for yourself if this is better or worse than the more traditional builds. So the first interaction is going to be a very simple one. The interaction between Barrage and Yangjiang. So yeah, first off we're going to normal our Yangjiang, activate our Barrage. Barrage pops the Yangjiang. Summons Rapier from the deck. The end triggers summoning Chiwen from the deck. If Chiwen was your starting Yangjiang, you can simply use Barrage to pop itself instead to bring out the Zoodiac Rapier and do the same combo. We're going to overlay Bauble on top of Rapier, and then we're going to overlay Tiger Mortar on top of Rapier. Tiger Mortar detaches Bauble to summon the second Rapier from the deck. Broad Bull over Tiger Mortar. Detach to summon the third Rapier from the deck. At this point, you can also detach for Broad Bull to search any Beast Warrior from your deck. Most likely Viper. Viper is a very good card. It makes your Exceeds into DD Warrior Ladies, which obviously outs a lot of problems, as well as give it a bit of attack points. But that's not important for the purposes of this combo. Synchro Rap here and Chiwen for Dinglong. Assuming this is the first turn, we're going to search Iron Pillars. From here you can do a lot of things. The most standard combo is to use Dinglong to drop a level 4 into the graveyard to make itself level 4. Synchro for 8, which is going to be Omega. Dinglong is going to float from the graveyard, summoning any Yangjiang that's not Chiwen, like a Jiao2 after setting the 9 pillars. Overlay Trident on top of Brawl Bull and pass turn. Omega can snipe one card out of their hand, so I consider this as a pseudo 1 negate. 9 pillars, negating something is obviously another negate, so that's 2 negates. Jiao2 and Chiwen, this effect both activates after 9 pillars resolves. And then we have the same choice as always. We can either float into Suwani and go into a Dinglong on our opponent's turn searching path, or we could go for Bian if we need it for a 3rd negate, since that lets us make our Battle Immune Herald. Trident is obviously quite a strong card. You can pop one whenever you feel like on both players' turns, but I like to call this 4 negates. So you can see that it's very strong. Metaphor Yangjiang generates 5 negates out of 4 cards, or 3 cards if you opened Terratop or other 1-card Dinglong options. This Zoodiac combo, we generated essentially 4 negates with only 2 cards, so that's better value since we still have 3 more cards in our hands, which can all be more negates. Since our standard combo here only took 2 cards to make, it lets us run things like Dimensional Barriers ourselves. It lets us run more hand traps without leading to more bricks, since the combo only takes 2 cards, so we can accommodate up to 3 bricks in our hand, which might not be bricks, which might be more negates. These could be Ghost Ogre, Dimension Barrier, and maybe even another 9 pillars of the Yangjiang, in which case we're up to 5 negates or more. But even if these are all irrelevant, this is still a very strong field. There are several reasons why I don't like this combo. So going all the way back to the start, this setup, you've already used your normal summon. So if you have a Wrap here in your hand, as a backup play, you obviously can't normal summon it. So if the barrage play doesn't go through, that's kind of all for your turn. So if they Ghost Ogre your barrage, you kind of just ended with normal summoning Yangjiang and pass. Hopefully the other 3 cards in your hand are decent negations and disruption cards. The other thing I don't like is when you barrage pop your Yangjiang, if they max C you on this point, they're going to get 1 draw. Bian, you can choose not to float, in which case you took neg 1. If you float, they get another draw of max C. This is definitely not a good stopping point. You want to at least synchro into a Dinglong, but that's going to give them 3 draws. So this is pretty weak to several different types of hand traps. You can somewhat play around it as well. So say if you opened Barrage, Wrap here, and a Yangjiang, you can simply activate Barrage. Use Barrage to pop itself. If they Ghost Ogre the Barrage, you can go ahead and normal Wrap here and do the standard Zoodiac combo, which is fairly strong. But if they don't stop the Barrage, special Wrap here, standard combo, overlay, detach, special, overlay, detach. Wrap here can summon Wrap Hairs from hand, which is very nice. At this point, you haven't normal summoned yet, so this is when you normal summon your Yangjiang. You can overlay Trident. This is where the second interaction between the deck is. Trident can pop your own Yangjiangs, which is pretty important. So you can detach for Trident, pop your Bian, summon your Chiwen, and then you're back at this point, which is exactly the same as before, except you got 1 less material on the Trident. It shouldn't matter because you still have 1 material for your opponent's turn, and that should be all you need to win. You go ahead, make Dinglong, search 9 pillars, drop Dinglong to level 4, make Omega, etc. Yeah, that's a great way to play around hand traps. But yeah, another variation on the standard Barrage Yangjiang combo. It's a version that I like more since it's more disruptive and better suited against the meta. So yeah, the start steps are all going to be very similar, only the last few steps are going to be different. So Barrage pops Yangjiang, summon, summon, overlay, overlay, detach, summon, overlay, detach, summon. Again, you can search the Viper off the Bull, but that's not important to the combo. Synchro for Dinglong. Search Pillars. So yeah, I like to drop Dinglong to level 3 at this point, and then Synchro into Yazi. Dinglong can float into a Swani or a BN, doesn't really matter. And then overlay the Trident, set the pillars, and pass. Now, Kaijus are going to be extremely popular in Zoodiac format. So compared with our previous field, which is Omega Jiaotu, if they Kaiju off the Jiaotu at this point, not only is your pillars dead, your Chiwen in the graveyard is also going to be dead, because we're actually counting on that to generate another negate or another Dinglong on our opponent's turn. So if we don't resolve the pillars because our only Yangjiang got Kaiju'd, they essentially got rid of 2 negates with only 1 Kaiju. So that's not very good, which is why I prefer to end on 2 Yangjiangs. If they Kaiju off one of these, we can still pillars pop the other one, float into Chiwen, float into whatever. But if they don't Kaiju it off, this is still extremely strong. We have that Trident pop still, obviously. We got the 9 pillars negate, so that's our second disruption on our opponent's turn. We're going to pop the Yazi for this. Both Yazi and Chiwen triggers, so summon back Chiwen. Yazi summons out BN. Immediately after that resolves, Suani can synchro for the second Dinglong, so we can search our path or whatever the situation calls for on our opponent's turn. And then we still have BN left, so BN can synchro with Dinglong into a Baxia for 2 on our opponent's turn, and Dinglong, after all of that, is still going to float into a random Yangjiang. So in the course of that turn, we had 1 counter trap, 1 Trident, 1 Baxia for 2, as well as 1 search. So the field is just as good as the Omega field, except you don't lose to Kaijus. So yeah, this is the combo that I like to do more than the Omega combo. There are several more things you can do with just the simple Barrage and Yangjiang opening. For example, if you're going second, this can easily put 8,000 damage on board. So yeah, Barrage pops Yangjiang. Dinglong drop itself to level 3. Make Yazi float into a random Yangjiang. And now you can start clearing the field. Obviously, Trident can pop something. This is where it's slightly more important to get the Brawl Bull search for a Viper if you run it. You don't have to run it, but if you do run it, it gives your Trident 1200 attack, which can contribute to the OTK. But more importantly, it turns it into a DD Warrior Lady, which can get over some floaters. It doesn't even target as well. So both Yazi and Trident, when clearing cards for you to go in for game, they not only they both target, they also both destroy. So that's obviously not ideal against things that aren't afraid of destruction or targeting. Turning the Trident into a DD Warrior Lady can really clear the way. Yazi popping Bixie, or if their field is completely empty and you can't use Yazi's effect to pop Bixie, you can always just use Trident to pop the Bixie. Float into Chiwen, Synchro for Chambera, and this is over 8,000 because Chambera is first attack 2.7, second attack 2.9, Yazi is 2.6. And if you have Viper or something under the Trident, it's going to be slightly bigger. So that's well over 8,000, even if this is at 0. And yeah, that's just game with only 2 cards. Even our game with only Jiaotu resolution is still technically 3 cards, because it's Jiaotu discard 2. So yeah, that's all Obviously, again, very good value for the number of cards you put into the OTK. Now the final barrage Yangjiang that I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's going to take really long. And there's, so many end results. It's really up to your imagination. You guys can tell me what you can end on in the comments if you like. Depending on what crazy cards you're running in your main deck, you could probably even end on like triple Quasar or something of this combo. But yeah, that's the standard Barrage Pops Yangjiang. I'm gonna not say for sure we're going to search off Ding Long right here. We're gonna search a card. This could be many different things that can alter the combo. Ding Long level 3 makes Yazi. Ding Long's gonna float into a random Yangjiang. The Broad Bull search can be very important depending on how crazy you want this combo to go. The main key step here is Trident popping Yazi. Now Yazi doesn't have to float into Yangjiangs, it can float into any worm. So you float into Mare, spit out some tokens, and the rest is really up to your imagination. I mean, you have Jiaotu and tokens, you can make Tatsunoko. If this is a Tao Tai that you searched with Ding Long earlier, this is Baxia right here. The end results for this combo is really limitless, so I'm not going to go into that much detail about this combo. Now this next combo it's going to end on exactly the same field as before, but I might as well show it real quick. And that's the Terratop plus Yangjiang combo. A Terratop is essentially a barrage, since you can special summon Terratop, search Tatcon Borg, special Tatcon Borg overlay for MX Saber Invoker, detach to summon the rat, overlay twice, detach, and then you haven't even normal summoned yet. Normal summon your Yangjiang. Since it's a Chiwen, we can just go straight for Ding Long with one of the rats. If it's not a Chiwen, that means you need to Trident, pop your own Yangjiang, and then float into a Chiwen. But as you can see, exactly the same result. You can either end on Omega or you can end on the 2 Yangjiangs, 1 pillar. Except we have this free 1600 guy as well on the field for free. Now another problem with the previous combos is that all of those combos involve normal summoning a Yangjiang and opening either a Terratop or a Barrage, so we can special summon our way into the rat combos. Terratop and Barrage is only 6 copies of a card, and that's nowhere near what we want for a consistent deck. 6 is not enough. The other half of the time, we're going to be accessing the Zoodiac half of the deck through drawing Rapier itself or Tenki into Rapier. Obviously, if we go that route, we're going to be using our normal summon on the Rapier, which means we can't normal the Yangjiangs. Now, normal summoning Rapier is still an okay play. It's a 1 card that generates a Trident and any rank 4 you want. It's not a very powerful play. It can be quite deadly if it's properly backed up with hand traps or traps, like in a proper Zoodiac deck. But for the Yangjiang Zoodiac deck, the rest of our hand is going to look something like this. So if we just normal the rat, do the combo, and have all of this left over in our hand for no reason, we're essentially playing a worse Zoodiac deck. So how do we solve this problem? We'll just take this example hand. The 5th card can be a trap, a hand trap, or even a board breaker like Dark Hole, which is pretty irrelevant because we're going first. Or it could even be a barrage. Let's just say it's a barrage. We use the barrage and it got Ghost Ogre, and we're left with just these 4 cards to do our combo. We haven't normal summoned yet, so we're going to normal summon Rapier, overlay twice, detach, overlay, detach. We're gonna get these cards out of our hand by pendulum summoning. So Broad Bull searches us any Beast Warrior. We're gonna search Dragoons of Draconia. overlay the 2 rat pairs for a second Broad Bull. Use this effect to search the other scale, which is Performer Power King Bear. Set our scales 2 to 7. Do remember that this is a 2 scale, so we can't pendulum summon Jiao2 or Bixie, which is pretty annoying. But we don't have to run maximum copies of Jiao2 anymore. But Jiao2, we're no longer relying on Jiao2 discarding 2 to initiate our combos. Before Ghost Ash comes out, it might still be worth maximizing Jiao2's, but post Ghost Ash I probably won't. But yeah, anyways, this is where the rest of your hand matters. You're gonna pendulum summon everything you can from your hand. That's levels 3 to 6. So in this example hand, we got 3 Yangjiangs, including a Zephyr. So Zephyr is going to be able to search 9 pillars. Again, post Ghost Ash also means post Maximum Crisis Zephyr support. Right now, the only ways we have access to Zephyr, which is quite good in this combo, is either hard drawing the Zephyr or Oracle for the Zephyr, or Terraforming for Oracle for Zephyr. Terraforming doesn't really have a second worthwhile target in this build. Again, post Maximum Crisis, we can also hybrid this deck with the True King, True Draco stuff. So maybe Terraforming will become very important then, since we can also search Draconic Diagram, which is the True Draco, True King field spell. But yeah, post Maximum Crisis, other ways we have access to Zephyr is going to be through Zephyr Providence and Zephyr Tetragrammaton. Of course, Zephyr Tetragrammaton is going to be a 7 scale if it copies the Zephyr. That means we won't need to search the King Bear. The Broad Bull can search something, again, such as Viper instead of King Bear. King Bear also becomes pretty cool at that point, since his Pendulum effect lets you search a level 7 or higher monster during the end phase by popping it. So if we pop this, we can search Zephyr Tetragrammaton during the end phase for plays during our next turn. So that's another interaction to look forward to if this build survives until then. Yeah, we're just gonna continue and finish this combo, see where this can take us. So overlay Trident over the Broad Bull with more materials. Pop our own Bian in this case, so we can float into a Chiwin, since having a Chiwin in our graveyard is always good. Synchro for Dinglong. Dinglong can search us more 9 pillars. Dinglong changes itself to level 2. Synchro for Baxia with the Zephyr. Dinglong floats into whatever, probably another Chiwin, since we want more Chiwins in our graveyard if possible. Baxia spins the Broad Bull with no materials for extra space. Baxia destroys the Chiwin. Doesn't really matter what we bring back, since our pillars are going to be able to modify our levels pretty effectively on our opponent's turn. But yeah, I'm just going to get back Jiao2, and then Chiwin is going to float into another Bian, set our 9 pillars at pass turn. The reason why I do this is just in case they don't activate anything on their turn, we still can Bian plus Jiao2 into another Dinglong. So yeah, this is obviously a very powerful field. We got the Trident pop. We got 2 pillars. After we pop our Yangjiangs, we can double float into Chiwin and Suani. Suani's effect makes Dinglong. Dinglong grabs Path. Bian's effect makes Baxia on their turn. Dinglong can float. This is all pretty standard stuff. This is all pretty standard stuff by now. We had a Baxia for 2 on our opponent's turn, Trident for 1 on our opponent's turn, a Dinglong search on our opponent's turn, 2 counter traps because we opened the Zephyr, which is still here in the extra deck, ready to be Pendulum Summoned again next turn for more searches. But yeah, these combos, we didn't have to go through Jiao2 discarding 2 for any of them, so naturally we're not going to lose to Vela or Godash. As for Maxi and Ghost Ogre, sometimes they can be pretty disruptive if your only play was, for example, a Barrage play. But most of the time, you'll probably have a backup play and not really care that much about it. As for Dimensional Barrier, I mentioned before we can play on pure Synchros or we can play on pure Exceeds. So, for example, if we open a hand like this, we're completely comfortable with going pure Synchro or pure Exceed through a barrier. So for example, if I normal summon Jiao activate Barrage pops Jiao to summon the rat. Jiao is going to float into Chiwen. If they barrier call Exceeds at this point, then we can just go straight ahead, Synchro for Dinglong, search counter trap, drop more Chiwens into the graveyard, set the pillars and pass turn. No, Dinglong is pretty good since even if they kaiju it, you can still float into a Yangjiang, and they can't kaiju that Yangjiang because you already control a kaiju. Barrage, since we only went through one wrap here, Barrage is worth protecting, since next turn Barrage can pop something, bring out more Zoodiacs. If you run Viper, you would bring out Viper instead of Rap here, since Tiger Mortar can't get back. Can attach the Rap here from the graveyard, and then you can do the full combo that way. So yeah, essentially you got 2 negates protecting one method of generating quite a substantial amount of advantage that they have to get rid of, but through 2 negates. So they're going to go pretty neg doing this. Even if they just set traps, this is 2 negates on traps as well to ensure that your plays go through. You also have the multiple Chiwens set up in the graveyard. So, next turn you can just normal summon the Yangjiang, Barrage pop, and you can float into Chiwen and another Yangjiang. These are all pretty strong plays, pretty strong follow-up plays, despite the fact that you did get barriered halfway through the combo. Again, if they call Synchro, you would just play it slightly differently. So we're rewinding to this point. If they call Synchro, you can just do the whole Zoodiac combo. Double Broad Bull, searching both of your skills. Activate the skills, Pendulum summon the rest of your hand. Drancia, end on this. Since we didn't have a Zephyr, we are not going to get a counter trap. We can't make Dinglong because they barriered Synchros. But ending on this is pretty devastating. This does kind of lose to Slumber. Since our Yangjiang's mistiming, obviously we can chain the Suwani into a Dinglong when they try to slumber us. Dinglong won't miss timing, so at least we'll get a float and hopefully not die. But if they don't, we can just Dinglong whenever we want. Since barrier only lasts until the end of your turn, get our Yangjiang Path Search, Bian can then further the Synchro into Baxia spinning 2. Dinglong obviously floats into something. So yeah, we got a Dinglong Search and a Baxia spin 2 on our opponent's turn, despite being under barrier calling Synchros. Is definitely pretty strong. Obviously, we still have the Trident pop as well, so this is another layer of disruption. If you don't need to pop anything, you can also pop your own Yangjiang. Since we haven't used Chiwen this turn yet, we can float the Bixie and float the Chiwen into a Battle Immune Herald. So we exchanged our Trident pop for a Battle Immune Herald. Back at this point, we also have the option of going straight into a Herald if we want. This play is pretty relevant if the first thing they do on their turn is activate the Grass is Tastier, or if they activate Void Imagination or stuff like that. The Herald is going to banish all of the monsters they send from their main deck to the graveyard. So yeah, that's another very relevant play to think about. This video has shown the advantages and disadvantages of the Zoodiac engine, some of the plays the Zoodiac engine is capable of. Disadvantages is obviously using up at least 5 extra deck slots, double Brawl Bull you need for the combo, double Tiger and double Trident. Comes up sometimes, you don't have to run it, but they're good recovery plays, since if you have to stop on a Trident, Trident popping can protect itself, and if it lives to the next turn, you can put Tiger Mortar on it, reattach the rat, do the rest of your combo, and then put your second Trident over it at the end of the combo, which is alright if you have more space in your extra deck. I doubt it though, but it's surprising how much stuff you can actually cut from the extra deck to accommodate these cards. Yeah, that's it for the video. If you're interested in Zoodiacs or any other cards in Raging Tempest, YGOsingles.com has the best pre-order prices on the internet right now. I've seen the prices myself, and they are actually so much lower than every other store. So if you're thinking about buying Zoodiacs online, consider buying from YGOsingles.com. Discount code for 5% is NY333YGO. Next video is, I don't know when, but it's probably going to be on the Retro Beasts. We got 2 new cards in Raging Tempest. As I've said before, they're not that good, but that's not going to stop me from trying. So yeah, next video, Retro Beasts.